So this video should probably settle the question of whether or not I'm a Christian pretty early on in my YouTubing experience. Hello and welcome, my name is Eric. Today is Friday, and as promised, today I will be talking about discernment. Now I'm pretty sure I've already said this in a video, but I'm reading this book for a class. The class is kind of a self-directed learning type of class that's overseen by a mentor, and I chose to focus on discernment this semester in large part because it corresponded to some other requirements that I had to do for the class. But I must say that even though that was a big reason I chose this topic, it's actually tying into a lot of different things I'm thinking about right now, especially as I'm getting closer to graduating. Additionally, I think discernment is a topic I've heard a lot about, but not necessarily in depth. Battery's dying in the middle of the video. This is so unprofessional. About all I've heard, or at least what I remember, is pretty much what the first paragraph of chapter 1 says. Discernment is a spiritual understanding and experiential knowledge of how God is active in daily life that is acquired through disciplined spiritual practice. Discernment is faithful living and listening to God's love and direction so that we can fulfill our individual calling and shared mission. I think that this paragraph spurs a lot of thoughts about how discernment is talked about, or perhaps just how I came to think of it. So much of the focus on discernment seems to be on individual calling, like what am I supposed to do for a job, or how does my schooling fit into what I could do for a job, or am I only supposed to be doing one specific job? Okay, I am rather focused on jobs right now, but I am about to graduate, so I think that that's fairly normal. A lot of what these thoughts hinged on was that there's only one specific path for me, and if I screw up any of that path, then I've totally ruined my life, or at least I haven't done what I've been called to do. So if I took the wrong job, or I married the wrong woman, or I was living in the wrong city or whatever, then I wouldn't have been doing what I was supposed to be doing. In reality though, I don't think that that strict sort of path is what calling is all about, and I don't think that discernment is necessarily about finding a specific path to follow. There are a lot of things that all Christians are called to do, and then there are specific gifts that people have that allow them to do different things. Individual call could be very specific, but it could also be broader, and discernment comes into the learning and listening and determining what this means for you, as well as taking time and listening to God as a spiritual discipline, and a whole bunch of other things I'm sure I haven't learned yet. Let's maybe take a discernment example. Let's say I feel called to work with the poor. The determination of that choice was in itself a decision made out of discernment. But maybe I don't feel that there's a specific way that I'm supposed to be helping the poor. My next decision will also be made through discernment. This choice is more difficult because there are so many different options that I can choose. Just recently I heard a Catholic priest say that the hardest decision isn't between good and bad, but actually between two different goods. It's not easy to pick one good over another good when you know that they're both good and both could be helpful, but eventually I will make a decision, or at least I should. It's important to remember here that this choice does not need to be set in stone. Maybe I feel like I made a really good choice and this is the best thing I could be doing right now, or maybe I end up feeling like I could have made a better choice at the start, or maybe something else pops up and I feel like that's the best choice out of all of the choices. But did I make the wrong choice if I feel like I could or should be doing something else? I mean, maybe, but maybe the answer isn't that simple, or maybe we're focusing on the wrong thing when we ask that question. Maybe I don't need to worry about making the choice, but instead I should be focused on trying to listen to what God is saying. So to finish up this video, I'm going to focus on one last point. Looking back at the very end of the paragraph that was quoted earlier, we see that discernment is also about shared mission. One thing that Nouwen focuses on in the book is how much community plays a part in discernment. Discernment isn't just about us figuring out our specific call, but is also about us listening to our communities, listening in our communities, and determining what is best for our communities. So much of today's culture is about solo work, and we often don't let other people have a choice or a say in what we choose to do. While decisions are ultimately up to the individual, members of our community may have valuable insight about what we can or should do, or have information that could help us make decisions. In Christianity, we are not just people, we are a people working together to listen to and do the will of God. So those are just some brief thoughts from what I've read so far. I know some of you who may have just come upon this video may not have been able to follow the Christian terminology or the Christianese, but hopefully you were able to track with me. I don't know how soon the next video installment about this book will be, but you can expect it sometime in the future. I'll see you on Tuesday. Also, I typed up what I was going to say in this video, and Microsoft Word actually recognized the word Christianese, so apparently that is a real word.